and soon had his evil deed totally fixed.
Merry Christmas to all from the colorful people at Terra.
Terra Greenhouses, where color lives.
Welcome back, everyone. 84% of Canadians give to charities, and 12.5 million Canadians volunteer every year. But with the recession and these tough economic times, charities say now more than ever they need our support. And that's why Imagine Canada is proposing the stretch tax credit for charitable giving. It's an incentive that the group hopes will encourage people to give and to give more. Michelle Gauthier is with Imagine Canada, and she joins us now live on the phone. Michelle, how does this stretch tax credit work?
Well, basically, currently when Canadians give to charities, they can claim 15% on the first $200 they give, and then they get a 29% tax credit on donations above $200. And what we're proposing is to increase the credit to 39%, so 10 percentage points higher than the current tax credit, as an incentive for people to stretch their giving. And the notion of the stretch really comes into play in that Canadians would claim the 39% rate on donations that surpass the previous ones they've made. So if one of your viewers or a citizen gave $200 in 2008 and then stretched their giving to $300 in this next fiscal year in 2010, they could claim 39% on that $100 of additional giving.
How did you come up with this idea?
Basically, what we were hearing from charities across the country is that they're reporting a growing and changing demand for their services in the wake of the recession, and more generally as Canada's population ages. And they're doing their best to respond to this demand, even as they know that governments are going to need to move from economic stimulus spending to more dealing with deficits and debts. And as they know, corporations and communities and foundations that have been hardest hit by the recession are struggling to maintain their support for charities across the country. So the notion was really that we were beginning to say we know that working families and middle-income Canadians are very supportive of charities across the country. How could we make it easier for them to give and give more so that they could support more of the causes that they care about here in Canada and around the world, the causes that at the end of the day make a difference in their lives and the lives of those they care about.
Have you been able to gather any statistics based on the current recession in terms of a decrease in the amount of money that is being donated?
What we're seeing, and this is more anecdotally, we're in the process of doing a national survey that's actually being launched at the beginning of next week to get some really hard data to help us on this front. But what we're hearing anecdotally across the country is that Canadians are still reaching into their pockets, but they're having challenges to be able to increase their giving, and in some instances they're having challenges even to maintain their giving, which is understandable as families and communities confront economic challenges and employment loss moving forward. So what's happening is that giving may not be decreasing fundamentally, but it's not increasing even as the need to provide through the food banks or to provide through the local services that are being offered to our children, to our elderly, to those who are sick and in need are growing all the time.
Michelle, what is the government saying about this proposal?
Well, so far we've been very encouraged by what we heard from some of the MPs who sit on the Finance Committee of the House of Commons. They seem very interested in it and recognize that this would be a way to help working families and middle-income Canadians who typically give more gifts of income than of assets to be able to stretch their giving. We're now encouraging charities and foundations from across the country to write to their local MPs so that we can make sure as many of the members of Parliament as possible know about the value of the stretch tax credit proposal. And our sense is that it does make perfect sense, irrespective of one's political stripe, to be able to support this going forward. If some of your viewers, many of whom may either be volunteers or donate to charities, would like more information, they can certainly go to our website at stretchtax.imaginecanada.ca, where they will find more information, and we would encourage any Canadian who cares about the well-being of charities to talk to their local MPs or to some of the opinion leaders and decision makers in their communities to let them know that this would be an important initiative going forward.
Michelle, this is a very interesting proposal. Good luck. Michelle Gauthier is one of the driving forces behind the stretch tax credit for charitable giving. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Still ahead, we'll tell you how the markets are ending the day.
Where can you find